pasture dieback. You've probably heard us talking about it for quite a while now. It's been in New South Wales on the north coast for probably almost 4 years. But what I'm going to talk about today is we've seen a big jump in the area of where it's impacting, and it really is getting closer to us here in the northwest. So firstly, what is pasture dieback if you're not aware? It is a condition that is killing our summer growing tropical grasses. It only impacts grasses, so your broadleafs, your legumes, they're all fine. But it does impact all our sown tropical grass species. And this photo here, this is just on the roadside on the Newell Highway, just sort of south of Gundawindi, and we can see the grasses all looking pretty dead along here. So yeah, what's happening? We're going to start looking at the north coast. That's where it's been, this area here, for the last sort of 4 years. So yeah, initially in 2020, that's in the autumn of 2020, that's when we first saw it. And this map here, this is the North Coast LLS area. These little areas, that's all a parish, so it's quite a small little area. And we can see 2020, this dark green, that's where we first saw it. It affected about 20 parishes, that's where they'd seen it. Then in 2021, 22, 23, it's sort of moving a little bit south, a little bit west. Yeah, and then this blue colour, this is this year. We can see that it's almost doubled the number of parishes that have been impacted. And it's gone from sort of, this is around Lismore area, it's jumped all the way down to Coffs Harbour. So it's moved a long way, it's moved well over 100 kilometres in this last 12 months. So yeah, and then the question I suppose, why is that? It's a bit hard to tell, we're still trying to understand dieback, but we think it's probably the seasonal conditions. I mean, Sean showed us already this morning, we sort of had a pretty amazing year this year in terms of rainfall, growing conditions. Dieback seems to impact most when our grasses are actively growing, so we've had fantastic growing conditions and we've seen the condition move a fair way. So yeah, it's in total on the north coast, we're seeing 140 parishes have been identified as dieback. With this year, there was from January to May, they found an additional 64. So yeah, big movement. So it's not just been the north coast that's seen a lot of movement in the last couple of years. So this is showing Queensland. The green shows where dieback was in June 2021. Then April to 2023, you can see there's just been a little bit of movement sort of west. And we're sort of thinking, or the Queenslanders in particular were thinking there might be around that 600 mil rainfall might pull up dieback and we might see it sort of stop there. Unfortunately, this year in Queensland, they've seen dieback move way west of that sort of 600 mil rainfall area, which runs sort of down here. Charleville, you're looking at like less than 500 mil rainfall. Yes, it's far more summer dominant than what we have, but we are seeing dieback move into areas where unfortunately we were thinking might not have seen it. And we can see here, it's at the border. We have found it sort of south of Gundawindi along here, along the northwest. Yeah, and some sort of suspicious sites looking sort of all in this area here. So as we don't yet really know how it's going to go on the tablelands, but yeah, it seems to, because we don't, yeah, it's looking like at the moment that our C3 grasses, so our ryegrass and fescue cocksfoots are probably not impacted, but anywhere that's growing our summer growing ones probably is. Okay, so I've talked about the spread of dieback, so what are we actually looking for? So the first symptom, we're looking for a series of symptom progression sort of thing. First symptom is discoloration. So this here is buffelgrass, and it sort of shows a reddy yellow discoloration. This here is common paspalum, and it's a bit hard to tell, but it's showing sort of purpling of the leaves. So just keep in mind, there are many things that cause leaf discoloration in plants. Maybe it's nutrients, maybe it's stress. But it is something to watch out for if your grasses are sort of looking a bit of a funny colour. The second thing you start to see is sort of stunted plants. So this plant here is a nice healthy plant. You can see it's got many roots, lots of tillers, whereas our dieback affected plant has a lot less roots, a lot less tillers. The next sort of thing you see is plant death. So we can see here this quite large dead patches. This is on the north coast. On the north coast, they're sort of seeing the hill areas are impacted first, whereas the lower lying area is looking okay. And this is some buffel grass in Queensland, and you can see it's all looking dead. And so, for some reason, it often pulls up at fence lines, or you'll actually find dieback along the fence line. Possibly a management thing. It does some weird things that we don't quite fully understand yet. And then the final sort of thing you see with dieback is weed invasion of that dead area. And unfortunately, often that's when people first notice dieback, is they go, oh, there's this patch of weeds here, go and have a look. And actually, as you look, you can see all the grass has died. So that is a symptom of dieback as well. So you're sort of looking for that progression from that discoloration, unhealthy plants, dead plants, and then grass not growing and other things growing is sort of a pretty strong indication of dieback. The other thing with dieback is we're pretty sure there's this little fella, pasture mealybug or Heliococcus summervilii, is somehow involved in causing dieback. So we do find these little critters pretty much everywhere where we've seen dieback. You can see them on the plants, but you've got to get in, you've got to have a good look. They're usually on the living plants, but we're talking, they're probably sort of 2 to 5 mils, these little fellas. And just to note, there are other mealybug species out there, and there are other white fluffy things you can find on your plants. So we're specifically looking for a mealybug that's just on the grasses. So what are there's some factors that sort of seem to combine to sort of increase the prevalence of dieback. So first of all, you need a susceptible grass species. So as I said, that's your summer growing grasses, and we'll go into that a little bit more on the next slide. You need this little critter, the pasture mealybug, and that can equal pasture dieback. But yeah, things that sort of lead to more prevalent or severe dieback is having a high biomass in your grasses, so like quite a lot of bulk in the grasses, having the susceptible species, good growing conditions, so it's hot, it's humid, these are tropical grasses, they're growing and they're actively growing. And then the final thing that we're still, I suppose, is being investigated is there like a secondary infection or something that these mealybugs are carrying? Are they carrying a virus or something? That's still unknown, but that's, yeah, it's a bit of research in Queensland looking into what's happening there. Conversely, what sort of leads to less severe dieback? It's pretty much the opposite of everything else. So we're looking at lower biomass or well-utilised pastures, less susceptible grasses, maybe a bit of a mixed pasture rather than a monoculture. If it's cooler, it's drier, then the grasses aren't actively growing, so we're seeing less dieback. There are insects that are predatory to the mealybug, so they can help a little bit, but unfortunately you've got to have a reasonable population of mealybugs before you start seeing the predators. So often the mealybugs have already started to do the damage before the predators show up. And having, as I said, a bit of a diversity in your pastures, so a legume can help as well. So this is some work sort of done out of Queensland looking at which species are sort of tolerant to some degree of pasture mealybug. Unfortunately, Paspalum, Kikuyu, they're all really quite susceptible. Our Bambatsi, Panic and Digit, probably some of our most commonly sown grasses around here, they're still pretty susceptible, unfortunately. Rhodes grass, a little less susceptible, but also acknowledge that it's probably not our most persistent grass around here. Talking to the team in Queensland, they're starting to say that Probably one of the most tolerant ones that we would use is our Gatton panic, and that's actually the Gatton cultivar. For some reason, it's done better than the Megamax panic cultivar. So that's sort of what they're seeing. But we're sort of yet to really see how these grasses go in our environment. At the moment, we're sort of looking at what's happening in Queensland and what's happening on the North Coast. So the team at Southern Cross Uni on the North Coast, they are doing a bit of investigation. They're evaluating species. So far, they're seeing like temperate species such as fescue, cocksfoot. They're not impacted, and they're looking at the endophytes in those as well. Oops, sorry, just trying to get so I can see my notes. They're also looking at forage crops, so ryegrass, oats, millet. They all appear to be quite tolerant. And they're finding signal grass is doing okay, whereas in Queensland they're finding it's not. So I suppose this is a bit of where we kind of need to see how it goes in our environment, because there are probably going to be specific local things for us. So just quickly putting this up, just to show that there are things that can be done to manage dieback if it does appear. It really, basically using a combination of things is probably going to be best. There's no real magic solution, and it's going to depend on how much of the area is impacted. Is it arable? Is it not arable? What other paddocks have you got to work with as well? And I think probably one thing to say is, particularly on the North Coast, talking a little bit with dairy farmers, they're finding that their pastures that are on the milking platform, so they're really well utilised, well fertilised, well managed, they're not getting impacted. It's more the paddocks where they put the dry cows sort of that are less managed that get impacted more. So I think there's something around managing well, managing fertility well, that can help with dieback. So we might, just go to the final slide. So we are asking if you're seeing anything looking really suspicious to please get in contact. You can call the Exotic Plant Pest Hotline, that number's up there on the screen. You can also just contact your local LLS. If you're into apps, MLA do have an app to report pasture dieback through, so you can use that as well. And then also feel free to get in contact with us at DPI, so myself, Suze, as well as the LLS people. We've got a number of people representing regions here. We've got Liam for the Northwest, we've got Georgie for the Tablelands, and Sarah and Eloise from the Hunter. So just use your contacts. Please let us know if you see anything. This really just help us track where it's going, what's happening, so we can just, I suppose, be aware. We can help regions sort of prepare for dieback as it moves to new areas. So thank you. We might pull it up there. Have we got any questions? Yeah, so the question is, do we know conclusively what causes dieback? It's still unknown, which is going to lean towards it's going to be quite complicated. We're saying that mealybug's involved now. Whether it's the primary cause or whether there's a secondary one, we're not sure yet. So the Queensland unis are doing a bit of research into that at the moment. So the question is, what are the universities actually looking into? So Suze might have to jump in here at some point. I think they are looking at their saliva of the mealybug. Is there something in that? As well as, are the mealybugs carrying particularly viruses? I'm not sure about bacteria, but I think viruses is the main thing. Is there anything else to add, Suze?
So there's been a whole heap of work done looking at soils, and there doesn't seem to be any association with good soils versus bad soils associated with dieback. Mealybug is turning up everywhere, so it's somehow involved. As Sarah said, they're going to be looking at the saliva of the mealybug, thinking that maybe it's transferring something which is doing the damage. They've done some work to have a look to see whether there's a secondary pathogen which comes in after the mealybug. And whether that's causing some issues. There has been a whole range of different fungi and like which come in afterwards, but none of them are consistent, so nothing is sort of indicating that it's key to the whole thing. It all seems to keep coming back to mealybug. So it's going to be interesting to see whether there is anything in the saliva which is what's actually ultimately filling that way.
That's actually a really good question. So I suppose the question is, does it affect African lovegrass? They're actually starting to think that it does. African lovegrass is a C4 grass. So I suppose they started seeing that this autumn just gone. So it's really going to be interesting this autumn coming to see how much it's knocked the African lovegrass around, but maybe it might. So there's a positive. Yeah, so is dieback coming to the northwest? So as I said, it's sort of probably about 30 k's south of Gundawindi at the moment. And that's moving south. And I suppose we haven't had a really good look for it. That was just pulling up on the edge of the highway, having a look and go, oh, there's dead grass and there's mealybug. So we haven't extensively looked. So yeah, particularly dieback's most obvious in the autumn. So I think this autumn we really do need to be having a good look in that northwest region. Possibly. So as far as we know, none of our crops are impacted by the mealybug. Yeah, don't know whether they can carry it, but I suppose wherever there's the grasses, which might be either along the roadside or something, yes, it is windborne. So there's not much we can do. It sort of pops up here, there and everywhere. It might pop up somewhere and then it might pop up, I don't know, 10, 50 k's down the road.